Good day to all podcasters. This is Lawrence of the Lawrence Perspective, coming to you from the LM Media Group. And hey guys, I think you're all in for a treat. My topic today is not necessarily controversial, but it's highly emotional. My evidence is there that YouTubers that go to Eritrea have ended up calling it the North Korea of Africa. That's the first thing. The second thing is they've then scheduled all their experience and expertise on that perceived notion that Eritrea represents basically North Korea. Those things are factually incorrect. North Korea is a completely isolated country where people can not even go there. You cannot even get a visa to get into North Korea, but you can get a visa to get into Eritrea. It might cost you about $150. But North Korea is closed to the rest of the community. In a similar fashion, the North Koreans cannot travel anywhere. They cannot go to South Korea, never mind the rest of the world or China. So those are the first impressions, is that Eritrea is nothing like that. Yes, Eritrea is a unitary state, it's a dictatorship, it's basically under strict control, it's a country that survived many years of war, basically against Ethiopia. Its independence was fought and won, and then they fought over land disputes between you see, I'm even saying it Korea now, which I shouldn't. Between Ethiopia and Eritrea. That's the first correction. It's not North Korea. The second one is this perceived notion that people have once they step foot in Eritrea. They start to, because of their perceived notions, they start to basically assume something negative will happen to them. In the first instance, the Asmara itself as a city is a clean city with friendly people, with nice cafes, restaurants, with all the trappings. It's limited by its lack of the internet and access to the outside world. But it still has a large diaspora outside of Eritrea in places like the United States, Sweden, the Scandinavian countries, France, Germany, you name it. A lot of the people that the YouTubers interact with in Asmara would actually have come from, say, Washington State. Seattle is very high in population numbers for Eritreans. Excuse me. And so therefore, Eritrea itself is exposed to international issues and notions and capabilities. So they know, even though they don't have the internet, they know what's going on outside. They support English Premier football teams and stuff like that, which is quite normal. Then what YouTubers do is they end up, when they have a negative situation occurring, they somehow summarily ascribe that particular issue, excuse me, to Eritrea itself. In one instance, a British couple, were accosted by what looked like a mentally disturbed man following the woman. And then in their video, they called it their trip to North Korea ended badly. They had a 40-minute video where 2 minutes was when the person accosted them in the last 2 minutes of their 40-minute video. So 38 minutes was all good. But however, they named the video based on the 2 minutes interaction with a mentally disturbed person. If I met a disturbed person in Brisbane or in London and they accosted me, would I ascribe that person's behavior to the United Kingdom or Australia? No. That's where the bias is. That's where the bias is. And I uphold on you YouTubers, desist from such alarming and highly inflammable titles. Desist from that. Caution your viewers with a title that's more muted, that's based on your long-term experience as opposed to your short-term escapade and issues with the local people. And don't frame it around the whole country. That's my point. Don't frame it around the whole country. I'd like to believe that there will be fairness as we go along, that people become more accustomed to really portraying the issue as they see it, rather than what they expect their audience to see. People who live in Asmara may not have the internet, but they're happy. People who live in Brisbane, when they don't have the internet, they're extremely unhappy. They perform, they jump up and down, they scream and shout. That's the difference. The difference is in perception. So the Western perception that if you don't have the internet, you're basically miserable and disadvantaged. If you have the internet, but you get skirmishes in London every single day, that's a happy life. Yeah, I rest my case here, and I look forward to discussing issues similar to this further with you next time. That's a point, a very good point that we should draw the conclusion and end here. I remain yours, Lawrence of the Lawrence Perspective from the LM Media. You take care, and if you're in Brisbane, don't worry about the internet. In Asmara, equally don't worry about the internet.